Hello, everyone. I'm Betty, and welcome back, and happy holidays. This is the monthly update for December, and hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. So, we are currently moving through our last passageway of 2021. Our first event was on November 19th, which was the lunar eclipse. You might have noticed issues with your sinuses as we were receiving light codes, and that has to do with our psychic senses. So if you experienced, issues with your sinuses and you don't normally have allergies, you can attribute that to the codes that were coming in. Again, too, through these passageways, you may tend to also find that your digestive system has issues and you're bloated. And that's a normal thing I see with every passageway. So it's not just the feasting. But you can use that as an excuse if you want. So coming into the month of December, we have on the 4th, we're going to start out with the bang. We have the new moon and the total solar eclipse, which will be very strong energies again also. And then it's followed by 12/12. We have a Stargate opening. So again, we'll be receiving more codes. On the 18th, we have the full cold moon. Again, more energies. And then the last of the events will be December 21st, which is the winter solstice. And these light codes from all of these events tend to last around 6 months after we've had that day. So that is normal. You may also notice, because we're going to have an influx of plasma, magnetic, and solar activities, which are accelerating to the planet. And on the planet, you may also notice that you may be experiencing heart palpitations, which I know is scary to a lot of people. Obviously, if it, continues and you're concerned, absolutely, go to the doctors and have it checked out. But usually this will pass. And everybody's different. So it's just a heads up. So if you start to feel, and you don't normally have issues again, no, it's that because we have a magnetic body, it's affecting that. So as something just to be aware of. I will be hosting an event on 12/12. This will be the last light language event for this year. We will be tapping into those potent energies of that Stargate opening. And it is important that we choose to continue to keep upgrading, activating, and realigning in order to maintain that highest divine flow. So when challenges come up, they're easier to handle and things move with grace and ease versus trying to, fight with them. So we do have a choice at this point to remain in the lower dimensions or move to a higher level of consciousness as we enter 2022. When we ourselves are vibrating at a higher consciousness, it not only affects us individually, but also we broadcast that out to others around us and into the collective. So it's a benefit for all. The more light we carry, the more light we get to share with everyone, which is really needed at this time. The Council of Light, Master Yeshua, Master Thoth, along with other divine beings, will be updating us on our current light phase, manifesting our galactic origins, and utilizing the light skills if you're currently using them, or giving you some new ones that you can use as we go through this time. And then it will be followed by the light language transmission. So if you're interested in attending, please go to my website, contact page. This is going to be on Zoom, and the link will be posted below. So hope you all can attend and spend a little bit of time for yourself to prepare yourself for 2022. So hope you can join us. So 2022 in numerology is a 6 year, which represents stability in all areas of our life. Family, home, job, love, not loves, hopefully, love, and also honesty and integrity, and have that influencing in everything that you do, and returning to a state of harmony and balance. It's going to be about balance next year. And the number 222 itself is also a master builder number. It's all about balance, new opportunities, building things, and manifesting miracles. So it is a really great year for opportunities and to start new businesses, new ventures, whatever that you have in mind, moving just to create that stability and balance in your life, and to maintain all of the balance in all areas, the mental, the physical, the spiritual, the emotional, and have it all balanced and not leading into one thing more than another. I have been picking up that 2022 will be another challenging year. So it is really important for us to stay in that state of balance, and that will help us rise above and choose positivity over negativity as we are in the process of creating a new world. So this month, the divine chose to bring into our awareness resistance. Last month's energies were about reflection, and the Council of Light would like to continue along that vein of looking inside, looking inward, and asking yourself, what am I resisting in my life and why? And that is really an important thing to look at this time. Resistance shows up in numerous ways. You may not even realize that you're actually resisting something. Or you may intentionally choose to live in denial out of the unwillingness to look. We're all guilty of that, right? I don't want to look at that right now. I know I should, but I don't want to look at that right now. So the council would like for you to observe what you are being resistant to, and is there something hiding in your blind spot that you are unable to see, that's just out of your view, and you're not really sure why you're resisting what you are. So some of the keys that they would like you to be aware of to kind of tap in and look at where you're resisting are, do you doubt or second guess yourself consistently? Are you always going to the point, well, if I do this, well, then no, if I don't do that, then this will happen, and it's a back and forth. If you're doing that consistently, it is a sign and a key of resistance. So you have to look in and say, well, what am I resisting about that? Do you find yourself freezing or stopping completely from moving forward because you are fearful? That can be really, how do I say it? That can be really hard because you're just in that position of immobilization. And so that's something that, again, for you to be aware of. Do you find yourself making excuses for yourself or others? Why are you making the excuses? Do you say no, especially when it comes to something you haven't experienced before? For example, I lived in a small town at one point in my life, and I had met a woman who thought I was really brave because I traveled. And she shared with me that she wouldn't be able to do that. Now, mind you, there was only at that time about 800 people who lived in that town, and she was clearly frightened to leave the town, and she had never left the village. And I just looked at her and I thought, wow, you're missing out on so many experiences in your life. But she was so resistant and living in fear, she wouldn't even go to the next town over. And she was resisting out of fear of the unknown. So that's something to keep in mind too. Is it the unknown that you're worried about, and you're not taking that step out and trying something new just because you've never done it before? I feel bad. I'm sure that woman, lived and died in that village and never left. So free will, that was her choosing. Another is, are you waiting for it to be the right time? Again, it may never be the right time. It's just about taking that step and moving one step at a time and see where it takes you. If you are being obsessive or indecisive over a situation, this is another sign, another key that you're not able to make a choice, and it's just looping. You just, like a tape player, you're just looping over and over again the same thing, and until you can look at what you're resisting and let go of that tape's just going to keep playing over and over again, and it can go on for years, which I see that a lot. And it's it's one of those places, do you really want to be there? Do you really want to keep hashing over the same thing over and over again, or living in that same spot and never moving forward? You could also be resistant over losing something such as a loved one, a job, a home, money, things that are really important to us. But you're resistant to moving on because it would bring change. And not everybody's ready for change, and you're not sure if you can handle it. Again, there's only one way to find out, is to step out and look at why do you feel you're resisting? And sometimes the fear is much worse than what you think you're resisting. Once you do it, you go, well, that wasn't so bad. What else can I look at and kind of move forward that I have been resistant to? So, being resistant to what is restricts you from expanding and experiencing all there is. We tend to create self-imposed stories of limitations and illusions that do not exist. It's just a story we've made up in our head. And because we're in a new era now, it no longer applies. Yes, can change be scary at times? Absolutely. But by deceiving yourself, you create a state of being in limbo. Again, getting back to that frozen spot where you simply can't move forward, or you're looping. So when you're in that state of limbo, what happens? It creates disharmony and distortions within our field, which then actually makes you feel worse than that which you feared, which then in turn creates disease in the body. You're literally making yourself sick. Every physical ailment is in direct relation to an emotional issue, whether it's a past life or this life, you can always trace it back to a trauma or an emotional issue that has occurred, again, whether it's this life or another. But that, again, has to be looked at so it can be let go of. And of course, yes, the deeper truths of our lives can be uncomfortable. But when you choose to seek the truth within, you're able to shift what you are resisting, which then unlocks the serenity, the peace, and the freedom. And you're going, wow, I wish I had used that key earlier to unlock that instead of staying in that state for such a long period of time. But again, we fear the truth, because if we look and see the truth for what it is, then we know inside we must take action, because we can no longer hide from it. It's an inevitable thing that we're putting off. But when you choose to let go of resistance, you're leaving old behaviors behind, which then allows you to come into that full alignment of your soul, where then you can find your true happiness, your bliss, your joy, because you're aligned where you're supposed to be. And fighting that off, you can feel pretty miserable with that resistance. And then once you let go and you align yourself to where you're supposed to be, you're going, why did I wait so long to have this experience? But again, it's out of fear that we choose to resist. So that's what the council would really like you to tap into. It's a continuation of the reflection of last month's into resistance of this month. And I know they'll probably continue again next month, almost like a little, well, it is a pattern that they want you to kind of look at. So as we are on the threshold of this new era, this new frontier in higher consciousness, the question is, where would you like to see yourself? If you choose the path of higher consciousness, you cannot take any of the old ways with you. Judgments, assumptions, projections, resistance, or any other distorted behaviors. For those who will insist on resisting, in this coming year and the years to come, they will experience more difficulties and suffering as they are living from the lower dimensions that no longer exist. We are kind of living in the remnants right now of the old world. We're still deconstructing the old world at this point, as you might have seen how it's very chaotic out there and things are kind of crumbling in different areas because they no longer hold value in the higher dimensions. It's not a fit anymore. So if you do not seek the inner and try to raise your vibrations, you will be unable to access and utilize the gifts that you were given when you came into this world and that you had in other lives, in other dimensions. You cannot access those from the lower dimensions. But when you live from the higher dimensions, you are in sync, you are in flow, you are in love, and you're in alignment. And then life becomes your playground, and you can shift and change and move and do whatever brings you joy, because you're living from that higher vibration. And then your spiritual gifts are aligned and enhanced. So right now, Yeshua is playing in my ear, Stairway to Heaven. And I'm hearing the lines, yes, there are two paths you can go by. And in the long run, there is still time to change the road you're on. So in his way, he's saying there's still time to change the road you're on. You don't have to live in a place of suffering and dis-ease. You can live in the higher vibrations and bring in all the joy and the love. You don't have to suffer anymore. It's never too late to change the road you're on. Thank you. So during this passageway, get out into nature as much as you can. I know it's really bitterly cold here in the Northeast at the time, but if you can sneak out and just get some fresh air and make sure you're grounding yourself daily and take the time to connect and reflect during this time on what you're resisting. And so you are able to let that go and to set yourself free. So at this time, I'm going to shift into the light language, I can't speak today, light language transmission. And this is for release and for peace for the month of December. So I'm wishing you all happy holidays. And I thank you all for all your love and support you've given me over the years. And I truly am grateful for all of you. And I will see you in the new year, okay? Naria hurumba ashte etene anayara nayo runemia ikiashu la nea yanunaya pa ashtu ane. Nyarenya suyinia arinya suyiris akhra orinis for ario sushta nenela amator tushte laha tushti intia tushte enea urma ate neneaya kiaya sutaya nema naria tosu arenya tushti itichi shahtuta ateanaya tarianya ukurama a Daraya kushti ignorin so foroste etiauren to suinia. Acher kushtu dino di kurus to chutusta. Danno nema ye ana soye. Darena nomo yapio toya taranea kiata. Soria mea awara maa. Elia akuyesto inia. Arinya ele ekunenasa. Yarenya yanea anya arokasu. Yeshta ukanane. Ayamba okurina tahari ushta atuku. Akapushte enemi ayana naya weriana. Ukuritsa lariane akuyesha akarende. Gabiane utane awor uhush lahamine e. Narine okurina se itiauruna. Ayana no so ishtu utu, ya kuyishta ne. Nyare no so yishta, and yeri suriti, arayana okupashta, dehari ukarushti, arune a akama aru haktene eburuteriana, grana a piaroto, pepia nene a torene. Yahutana. Nyare yahushta e darora maayane shu orona kiato so de yakeronoto ariano biaso iri piato so Yano mia waranai. Naru kioro ramba atuisha. Yakura naigurushte piesto. Naria kiaran. Nyari miaro taya kushto di akhrani akhruta ne akara pa ost. Teriane aku. Darore mia doye yoria kusha. Yane nyane. Yaro tushu nakorayana fara biakoshte ne aye bioshu iti orima akuya bia kiatana. Di bioro tam bra aron tush. Yachata khramene. Yere bleachano. Yara dalacham ba el karitu. Bara eitana. Karampisha bi achrotushta. Aronaya yakaratushta. Goremianene. Sokhanene yanete. So it is. So it is. So it is.